Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the next video. So in this video we are going to discuss about a hacker earth question. So which is basically the dynamic programming question. So this was actually asked in one of the MNC's off-campus coding question, guys. And this question was actually given a time of actually 1 hour. Okay. So you know that the questions like hacker earth and hacker rank will be they are kind of a questions which will be depending on the dynamic programming. That means we need to do a lot of manipulations and lot of conditions will be given. So if you are writing any other exams like Wipro, TCS and all those things, like if they are for freshers, and you might be facing the questions which are simple and straightforward. But here you will find the questions which will be much more difficult, and you know that in any competitive programming, that is competitions, they will be asking the questions from hacker earth or hacker rank itself. So in today's session I'll be okay. So the URL also you can see, guys, and I'll just show you. Zoom in and I'll show you. So here you can see assignment.hackerearth.com. So I have included all the screenshots of actual questions which were asked. So this is one of the companies. The coding round was there. So okay, so you can see the question was asked, and maximum 20 marks was there. So the question was something like this. Its heading was count buildings, and I'll just show you the length of the question, guys. First you just see. So this is the first screenshot. After that second one. Okay, after that third one. After that fourth one. After that fifth and sixth. So these are the six screenshots which are related to one question itself. Okay, so one question is around six screens. Okay, so now how to solve these type of questions, and what should be our approach. Okay, so all those things I'm going to explain in detail. So the video will be lengthy, but believe me, you will take a good amount of knowledge from this video. So please do watch this video completely. So with that said, I'll just first read the question, guys. Actually I have written the code for this one, and I have executed each and everything. So already I have executed this, and believe me, these questions cannot be solved in 10-15 minutes, or if you don't have proper programming knowledge, then you cannot, like, okay, so this question I can solve it in 5 minutes. So that is not possible, guys. First you need to build the logic, after that you need to write it. So building logic is very difficult, and building proper optimal logic is very important, guys. So you know that it will be having time limit, so within that time your code should execute. So all those things you need to take into consideration, and you need to reduce the execution time as much as possible. So all those things I have taken care in this, and I'll just start with the question, guys. Okay, so I'll just zoom in so that you can see, and I have intentionally I have included the screenshots so that you should know how the questions will be given. So first of all, I will read the question once, guys, completely. After that I will explain you what is the question, and after that I will explain you the code, and I'll give you the code. Okay, so all those things I will do, and believe me, guys, I will not say like this block is doing particular thing, after that this block and this block, like some other YouTubers you might have seen. So they will say, okay, this block is particular task A is done, after that B is done, and okay, so that's it. So I will explain each and everything, like if this is the if condition, why I have written this one, after that why this else I have written, after that why this thing is written over here, so why should be here, why should be in the second for loop only. So each and every line I am going to explain in detail. So believe me, this video length will be around 40 or 50 minutes, I don't know. Okay, so that's it, that's enough intro, guys. Now I'll start. Okay, so the heading is count buildings, and there is a cricket stadium, and to the right of the stadium there are n number of buildings standing in a straight line. Okay, so there is one cricket stadium, and after that to the right hand side of that stadium there are n number of buildings standing in a straight line. So there are n buildings and they are in the straight line, just like in a PUBG. Okay, after that Bob wants to see the cricket match from the top floor of the buildings, but there are some conditions to see the match from ith building. The conditions are as follows. So there is one guy called Bob, and he wants to see the match from the top floor of a particular building. But in order to see that match, you need to you need to fulfill some conditions, and those conditions are given here. Bob can only see the match from the top floor of ith building if there exist at most ki buildings in front of Bob with height less than and equal to the height of ith building. So whatever they have written over here, like, okay, so the Bob can see the building if there are at most k of I. So k of I means you will come to know what is k, and it is basically an array, guys. Okay, so k of I is just an factor which will decide whether Bob can see the match from a particular building or not. So basically you can imagine, okay, so you can imagine a straight line, there are two buildings and you are standing on the third building. Okay, so if those buildings are more, or they are taller than your buildings, then you will be not, obviously you will not be able to see the match. Okay, so the buildings which are in front of you, they should be equal to your building's size, or their length should be less than your building size. Then only you will be able to see the match, right? So the first condition says that. After that, there is k of I, which we will take care later. Okay, so once you understood that one, next point says that if any building is found in front of Bob with height more than the height of the ith building, then Bob cannot see the match from the ith building. So the same thing, if any building is taller than the Bob's building wherever he is standing, then you will not be able to see the match. So these are the 2 points, guys. Okay, done. We understood these 2 points. Now you are given the following. So what they will be giving you? An array A of n integer. Basically they are giving you means the compiler which they are assigned, they will be, or it will be giving the input. So it will give an array A of n integers denoting the heights of each building. So they will give you one array whose name is A, and it contains n number of integers. So n is the number of buildings and A contains the height of each building. So A will be having how many elements? A will be having n elements, and each element denotes the height of a particular building. Got it? Okay, so after that, an array k of n integers. So as I said, k is just an extra conditions which they have given, like if the number of buildings are less than, so building, if there exist at most means whatever the number of buildings whose size is less than, size in the sense, okay, so height you take, right? So whose height is less than the ith building or where the Bob is standing, their count should be less than or equal to. They are telling at most. That means their number should be less than or equal to k of I. K of I means whatever integer they will be giving inside this array, that should be greater than, or I can say the heights, the less or the shorter building should be, the number of shorter buildings should be less than the k of I value. So when you take an example, you will understand. Don't worry. Okay. So after that, task, determine the total number of buildings from which Bob can see the cricket match. So your task is very, very simple. You just need to return total number of buildings. That means you need to return one integer from which Bob can see the match. So let us go to the examples now. Okay, so example. The first example says that, here you can see assumptions n is equal to 3. That means there are total 3 buildings and A represents height of each building. So first building height is 2, second building height is 1, and third building height is 3. After that, K is one matrix as they are given, and its values are 1 to 1. Okay, fine. So we have seen those. Now what should be the approach? Approach also they will say. So for building with height 2, that is A of 0. So first building we will consider, which will be A of 0, obviously array is starting from 0, and whose height is 2. Okay, the number of buildings in front of it that have a height smaller than or equal to 2 is 0. So you can see in front of it means on the left hand side you should have some elements. For 2 there is no element on the left hand side. That means 2 is the first building in the row. Whatever, there are 3 buildings and 2 is the first building. Okay, so that means it will not be having any building in front of it. That means the buildings with height less than or equal to the A of 0th building is 0. That means there is no building at all. Okay, so which is less than K of 0, which is equal to 1. And simultaneously we have to check whether that count, that is the number of buildings whose height is less than the a of I, a of 0 should be less than k of 0. So k of 0 is how much? 1. And here I have got 0. So that 0 is basically count of buildings. So count of buildings should be less than or equal to 1. So that is the condition. And also there should be no building with height greater than the current building. So current building is a of 0, and you can see there are 0 buildings, and which is obviously less than 1. Okay, so condition satisfied. So here Bob can see the cricket match from this building. Okay, fine. Now the Bob can see the cricket match. Okay, no problem, guys. Alright, fine. So now I'll go to the second condition. I think I zoomed out, guys. Okay. I just want to show you both things, like okay, I'll just show you the arrays and these conditions. So you can see the arrays, right? So now second condition, for building with height 1, that is a of 1. So we are done with a of 0, that is 2. Now we'll go to the a of 1, and whose height is 1, guys. Okay, fine. The number of buildings in front of it that has a height smaller than or equal to 1 is also 0. So you can see the number of buildings in front of it whose height is smaller than or equal to 1. So you can see there is one building but whose size is greater than, or whose height is greater than the current building. So obviously 2 is greater than 1, right? So I can't say like okay, so that means 0 count of buildings will be 0. That means there are 0 buildings whose height is less than the current building's height. Fine. And which is less than k of 1. So simultaneously we have to see k of 1. So k of 1 value is 2, and I know 0 is less than 2. That means condition satisfied. So one condition is satisfied now. But since there exists a building with height 2 in front of it, Bob cannot see cricket match from this building. It is obvious, guys. So the current building height is 1 meter. I'll just assume, okay. So 1 meter, and the building which is in front of it, okay, so in front of it is having a height of 2 meters. That means obviously when the Bob is standing on this shorter building, he will not be able to see the match. So that's why in second condition the Bob will not be able to see the match. So that means whenever you are writing the program, you have to make sure that whatever buildings are in front of the current building, their height should be shorter. So if their height is greater than the current building, then you cannot see the match. Got it? So that thing we'll be using very wisely. Okay, so to break the condition, to break the for loop, I'm going to use that one. Okay, so fine. Alright, so what I will be doing, basically I will check. So first, okay, so if you are currently at that is a of 1, then I will check a of 0. If a of 0 is greater than a of 1, then I will not check whether it satisfies k of 0 condition. That means number of buildings whose size is less than the current building size, and that will be giving count. That count should be less than 2. So those conditions I will not check, because anyhow I know that if it satisfies the first condition, then second condition is almost failing here, because the building which is in front of the current building is having a height which is greater, and obviously you will not be able to see the match. Then there is no sense in checking the other condition. So that's how you optimize the program. Okay, so fine. Second condition also got satisfied, and okay, so now the result is 1. I'll check out for the third building. Okay, so for building with height 3, understand this properly, guys. If you understand this, then writing a code is piece of cake. So for building with height 3, that is a of 2. Okay, so the last building which is in our array is a of 2, and whose height is 3, guys. The number of buildings in front of it that have a height smaller than or equal to 3 is 2, which is greater than k of 2 is equal to 1. So here what happens is, basically there are 2 buildings you can see in this array. One building's height is 2 and another building's height is 1. So basically they both 2 and 1 are less than 3. That means count will be how much? Count will be 2. But k of 2, that is k of the last element, here you can see it is 1. And in our condition we said that count should be less than or equal to k of I, that means k of 2 here. So it is not satisfying the condition. That means though the buildings are having smaller size, Bob cannot see the match, because it is not satisfying this extra condition which they have given in the form of k of 2, which is very, very important, guys, in order to test all, in order to pass all the test cases. So clearly understand that whenever you are writing a condition, it has to satisfy 2 conditions. The buildings which are in front of the current building should be having a shorter size as compared to the current building. Next thing is that the number of buildings or number of shorter buildings count should be less than or equal to corresponding k of I. That means if you are pointing at second element, then you have to take the value of k of 2, that is 1 in this case. And here it is failing because we have got 2 which is greater than 1 and I cannot see the match. I mean the Bob cannot see the match. So ultimately I can say that there is only one way in which the Bob can see the match. So this is how the complete question goes, guys. Okay, so once you digested this much, then we will go to the second part of this one. Okay, so in second part what is happening, guys, basically they are giving one function and you need to complete that function. So all those things you'll just see. So complete the count buildings. So count buildings is a function which the compiler will give, function provided in the editor. This function takes the following three parameters and returns an integer. Okay, n represents the size of array. Just now we have seen a represents array representing the each building height. After that k represents a k array given in the problem statement. So okay, fine. After that, input format, what we will be having. So input format, all those things are predefined, guys. You just need not to worry about these things. I mean, the first will be t denoting the number of test cases. After that, again the same thing. The next line contains, if you want you can read these things, but they are not important. Just for your understanding, I have written, I have just shown here. Okay, fine. For each test case, we will be having n value, a array, and after that k array. Okay, so that is pretty much common. Output format, we have to return one integer representing the total number of ways in which the Bob will be able to see the match. Got it? So now output format you can see over here. So I'll just zoom in a little if you want. Okay, okay, fine. If I zoom in, I'll come to the first page. I don't know why. Okay, yeah, this was the page. So you can see for each test case in a new line, print the single integer representing the total number of buildings from which Bob can see the cricket match. Okay, fine. Constraint they have given, and don't worry about constraints also. So they are for just JVM, I mean whatever the compiler. So for its understanding it will give. Okay, fine. Now this is the second test case, guys. So 1 represents number of test cases. In this case it is only 1. So n represents how many buildings, and this 5, 6, 8, 4, 10 is the height of each building array. After that, this is the kth array which is used to check one extra condition. And here you can see, okay, so if you evaluate this one properly, whatever rules we have used, the sample output which they have told is 2. That means the output for this input should be 2, and both these test cases I will execute and show you later. Okay, so now the important thing is, this is how the editor looks like, guys. So I'm giving you the complete experience. It's just like you are writing the exam itself. Got it? So yeah, okay, it's been 17 minutes now. Okay, fine, I'll try to cover as early as possible. Now public class, they will give public static void main. These are just for the taking input, taking test cases, all those things are there, guys. Okay, so they will give like this buffer read. Okay, after that int t, that is number of test cases. After that n, it will be giving the input, and after that it will be storing in array a. Okay, so here it is done, and after that it will initialize array k. After that it will store the elements inside this array k. So all those things are just predefined and you need not to do anything. Got it? So after that you can see all those things are here. After that count and close. Okay, fine. Now comes the actual code which you need to write here. So they have given one static function whose return type is int. The function name is count buildings. It has got 3 parameters. First it will take is n. After that it will take an array called a. After that it will take an array called k, and you have to write the code here, and these are the default. Int result equal to 0, return result. That means here they have initialized int result equal to 0, and you need to return this result. That means the possible number of ways in which Bob can see the match should be assigned into the variable result, and that result should be returned. So this is how you need to attempt the question, guys. Got it? Now fine. Okay, so this is enough explanation, I think, and now what I will do, I'll just show you how to write. I mean, I'll just show you I'll just tell you the logic, guys. So without logic it is not possible. So what I can do is I'll just explain the logic here itself. I'm trying to make some space, guys. Actually I'll write okay here. So first array is 2 1 3, second array is 1 2 1. Okay, so 2 1 3 1 2 1 2 1 3 1 2 1, and remember that one. And here I will write. So I will just take it as array 1. So no need to take whatever, like first one is 2 1 3. After that array 2 is, so okay, so I just don't want to confuse you people. So this is a array. Okay, so after that this is k array. K, and it contains, I think, 1 to 1. 1 to 1, and n value already they have given, like n is equal to 3. That is number of elements. Fine. Okay. So now the output for this one is basically output is 1. That means there is only one possible way in which Bob can see the match from this combination. So let me just take it down to the next page so that I can explain it completely. Okay guys, fine. So I'll just take this one over here. Now I will take the marker. Please understand it carefully guys. It's very important. Okay, so once you understand this, then writing the code is actually easy. So without this you will not understand anything, and you will be like, oh, what the hell you are talking about. So all those things you'll just tell. So please concentrate. Okay, fine. So there is one array. Okay, I'm drawing it again. So it contains 3 elements. This is not writing. Fine, now it is writing. So this is the first array. After that there is second array, and this is how the elements are stored. So this is first and this is second, and let me just write the array elements as well. So here I have got, let me just write like this. Here I have got 2, then 1, then 3. Here I have got 1, 2 and 1. 2 1 3 1 2 1. Fine. So this is how the question is. Now what I want to do is basically start, you need to have 2 loops guys basically. So one which will iterate on these elements. I mean, if I give just the index values, it will be having 0, it will be having 1 and 2, and here it is also 0 1 and this is 2. So these are the index values. So I need totally how much? 2 for loops here. So first we'll iterate on this loop, I mean this array. Second one will iterate on, I mean the second array. Okay, so first thing what I'll be doing is I'll just check whether there is any element whose height is greater than this current element. Let us say I'm pointing to this one guys. So this I can say a of 0, right? So this is a of 0. So currently I am at this position, and I will first check whether there is any element whose height is greater than a of 0. That means whose height is greater than 2. So if it is true, then I will break the present condition, because if there is any element whose height is greater than my current element, then obviously I will not be able to see the match. So then there is no need to check for the kth condition, that is the count should be less than or equal to k. So I will not go for that one. Okay, fine. After that, if I go to a of 0, what I will do, first I will check how many buildings are there whose size is less than my current building, and before that I will check whether there is any building whose height is greater than the current building. And here also you can see there is one building which is 2 and whose height is greater than my current building. So I will not go to the kth condition again. Okay, so fine, I will write like that only in the program, and I have written also. Okay, so now I will go to the next element. So I will see whether there is any element whose height is greater than my current element. In this case there is no element, like one building is 2 and another building is 1. That means both are less than 3. So the first condition is satisfied. Okay, fine. So now I will go to the second condition, and obviously in order to go to the second condition I should know how many buildings are there whose size is less than my current building. So I will use one count. So whenever it passes one condition, I will increment the count by 1, so that I will come to understand that yes, one building was there whose height was less than the current building. Again I will increment and check whether that building is having a smaller height than the current building. So like that until and unless the value is I will reach this current building. I will check out how many buildings are there whose size is less than the current building. That I will store it in a count. And next thing, in order to satisfy the next condition, what I will do, I will say if count is less than or equal to k of how much here. So this is k array and obviously k of 2. So if it is less than, so count means it will be holding the total number of buildings whose height is less than the current building. If it is less than or equal to k of 1, that is in this case 1, then only I will increment the result by 1. Result is basically the possible ways in which the Rob can see the match. Okay, so this is how I will be solving the problem, guys. And now once you understood this logic, let us try to implement this one. So I have already implemented and I will just show you the code over here. Okay, so this is the code, guys, and I will try to zoom in. Okay, fine. Now I think now it's visible, right? Visible. Okay, visible. Okay, fine. Okay, so what I have done, guys, package array. Okay, so each and everything I am going to tell. So I have told in the beginning itself, right? So I will give one right mark whenever I solve one particular right. Okay, so first one is package array problems. That is just a package, guys, nothing much. Okay, so package means like one folder where I am storing. Basically I used to write each and every day the off-campus coding questions I used to solve. So that's why you can see I have like problem 9, after that problem 17. So this series goes on. So that's why I am storing them in a arrays problem package. So just a folder. There is no need to write it in your actual code whenever you are writing in the exam. So because you are not creating any package in there, so there is no need to write. Okay, fine. After that, import java.util.store. So this is also not needed, guys, for you, because it will be imported each and everything as I was shown. The editor will be having all those things. Okay, fine. After that, this is the class, guys, and you know that public static void main. This is the main method which is starting. After that, whatever the compiler is giving their input, those inputs I am taking myself, because here I don't have any pre-built compiler, right? So what is the size? And I'll go to the first condition itself, okay, so that you can understand. So I'll just say like how much n is equal to 3. It was in the problem, and actually this is the second condition which I checked. Now this is 2, after that 1, after that 3. So this is the number of heights, guys, number of height of the buildings. After that k array is 1, 2 and 1. So this is the first condition. Okay, and I'll just show you. So here if I run, you can see the output as 1. So obviously here also we are having the output as 1, and this is exactly matching whatever. So I'll just show you. Here you can say run problem 9. I am running, and here you can see within 1 or 2 seconds I am getting the output, and within 1 second. Yes. Okay, fine. So now I have come to know this is what number of buildings. So this is number of buildings. After that, height of each building. After that, kth array, that is k array for extra conditions. And here I am storing the possible way inside this one. They have given result and I have taken res here. So that is okay. So you can take anything. After that, as I said, I will be using 2 for loops. So this is the first for loop, guys, and this is the second for loop. Okay. So I'll just write the array here once so that you can it will be easy for you to visualize. So simultaneously you will be able to see. So this is array A. So with the help of mouse I am writing. So if I am not writing properly, please pardon me. Okay. So after that, this is the kth array, but I'm trying my best, guys. Okay. So kth array, and here it is 1. Okay, I have not written comma here, right? Okay, fine. I will put comma for these things. These are the comma, guys. Fine, you will understand, I think. 1, 2, and after that, this is also 1. Okay, fine. So what I will be doing with the help of this for loop. So this for loop is used to iterate through the elements of this thing. So first, whenever, they will be having like 0, 1, 2. So this is running from 0, starting from 0. After that, array 1 dot length. In the sense, A is basically array 1 I have taken here, and K is array 2. So that's why I am writing. So this should start from 0th element and it should come up to array1 dot length. Array1 dot length means it will give the number of elements. So you know that always the maximum index value will be number of elements minus 1. So that's why I will write array1 dot length, and here I will write less than, so that it will point to the last element. Up to last element it can go I plus plus. Fine. Here each and every time I will reset the count, guys, and I will tell you why I am resetting the count, because I want to find out. So this is basically, this will tell how many elements are there whose height is less than the current building. So that's why I return count equal to 0. Initially it will be 0, right? So before starting my loop, now boolean flag equal to false. This is to break the condition. If there is any building whose height is greater than the height of the current building, then I need to break. In order to break, I am using a flag here, so that I will be using over here. Okay, fine. After that, for int j is equal to 0, j should be less than I and j plus plus. Note that I have written j should be less than I for the second condition. So that means what I will be doing, suppose I am here, guys. Okay, suppose I am here, what I will be doing, I will start from 0th element, that is from 2 I will start. Okay, and I will come up to this element, because I want to find out how many elements are there whose size is less than the current element. So I should not include current element. So that's why I have written j should be less than I, not less than or equal to. Got it? Understand it clearly. I want to check for this condition. If I am going, then j is how much? J will be starting from 0, and j should be less than I. I is value how much? I value is 2 basically. So j value should be less than 2. So that means it will check whether 2 is less than 3. Yes, then increment count, then again count. So that I will be doing. Okay, fine. So this is to iterate through the elements up to the current element in the sense building. Okay. So now after that, once it enters this for loop, then it will check if array1 of j is less than array1 of I. Here I am checking array1 of j in the sense whatever j is starting from 0, right? So if I consider for this one, guys, see, array1 of j means 2. So here it will be 2, and assume that I value is 2 here. So it has gone to the second loop, and which should be less than array1 of I. Array1 of I value is 2. Array1 of 2 is 3. So 2 is less than 3. That means there is one building whose height is less than the current building's height. That means increment the count by 1. So it will increment the count by 1. It will make it as plus 1. So count plus plus. Okay, fine. If it is not, if the condition is not true, array1 of j is not less than array1 of I. That means if I have got one element which is like 4, so 4 is not less than 3. Okay, fine. 4 is not less than 3. I will not enter this one. I will enter here. So here what I am doing is flag is equal to true I am making. So initially it is false. Now I am making it as true, because I want to check two conditions whenever I complete the inner for loop. So whenever I complete the inner for loop, I will check whether, I need to satisfy two conditions, right? Their size, there should not be any element whose size, there should not be any building whose size is greater than the current element. So if there is no building whose height is greater than the current building, then flag will never turn true, because there is no condition which satisfies this one. Else, if all the buildings are having lesser size, then obviously count will be increased and flag will be false itself. It will be never turn true until and unless you find a building whose height is greater. So that's why I have written this thing here. Okay, so just to have two conditions. Okay, fine. Once you complete this for loop, guys, for loop is completing here. So once you complete for loop here, then you need to check if count is less than array2 of I. So array2 of I means currently if it is pointing here, okay, so count is less than array2 of I. So whatever the count is getting, so count is basically number of buildings whose height is less than the current building. So here if I consider 3, then I will be having count as how much? 2. So I will check 2 is less than array2 of I is how much? 1. So 2 is less than 1? No. And here I am having 2 means I need to satisfy both the conditions. If the first condition is satisfying, and it will check flag is equal to false. Obviously flag is equal to false, but if AND operator has to work, then both the conditions has to be true. So that's why it will not increment the result, and it will just move on and just go to the next iteration, that is I plus plus, it will execute. So in this case it will skip. Okay, fine. Now what is the what about this one? 2, 1 and 3, and here also 1, 2 and 1. Okay, go to the first element. So array of 0 it will select. Okay, fine. Array of 0, count is equal to 0, everything is fine now. Okay, so for int j is equal to 0 and j should be less than I. So how much? J value is 0 and 0 should be less than 0, it is writing, as it is not having any element on the left hand side. So that I am showing you how it is working. So any element which is having less than the size of I, there is no element, so it will not enter into this for loop. So it will skip this for loop, guys, because there is no element whose size is less than the current element size. Okay, so that's why don't enter this, and there is no need to check all those things. Fine. So after that it will check whether count is less than array2 of I. So how much count? Count is obviously 0. So 0 is less than, it will check array2 of I. Array2 of I means 1. So array2 of I. 0 is less than 1. Fine, right condition. After that, flag is equal to false. Obviously flag will be false because it has not entered this loop itself, and that's why it will be false. Yes, true. Then increment the result. So it will increment the result by 1. Okay, and now go to the second condition, guys. Again I will write 2, 1, 3 and 1, 2, 1. So it will go to the next element here. Okay, fine. Next element. In that case, what will be the I value? I value will be equal to 1. So here it will come, and again it will reset count equal to 0. Flag will, it will again turn the flag to a false value. Fine. So after that, j is starting from 0. J should be less than I. So 0 is less than 1. True condition. Okay, fine. And it will enter over here. Array 1 of j is less than array 1 of I. It will check. So j is basically pointing to the, it is having 0. So that means it will point to 2. So 2 is less than 1, it will check. If it is true, then increment the count, otherwise don't. So here you can see it is not true. Then it will go to the else, and it will turn the flag as true because there is one building whose height is greater than the current building. So you need to turn flag to true. Okay, so after that, again it will come over here. It will loop. So it will check j plus plus, it will do j value is now 1, and it will check 1 is less than 1. No. Then okay, so 1 is not less than 1, so it will break out of this for loop, and it will come over here. It will come, and if it will check if count is less than array2 of I. Count is how much, guys? So you can, count is 0. So 0 is less than 2, it will check the condition is failing, and flag is equal to false. No, flag is not false. Flag has turned true. So second condition also failing. So both the conditions are failing. Obviously, if one also fails, it will not increment the result. So it will not going to increment the result. And the third thing, already in the beginning itself I have explained. So like this, it is going to print the output for us. So at the end, I am returning the result, whatever system.out.println result I am printing. But here you can see I'll just write on string number of ways in which Bob can see match, and here I will concatenate. Okay, so if I save and run, already I have shown you, but yes, fine, I will show it again. So here you can see, obviously I just want some space over here. Okay, number of ways in which Bob can see the match is 1. So there is only one way in which Bob can see the match. Now I will go to the second condition which is there in the screenshot. Okay, so the elements are n value is equal to 5. Let me just change it one by one. N value is equal to 5. Okay, so array 1 elements are, I'll just delete these elements, 5, 6, 8, 4, 10. So those are 5, 6, 8, 4, 10. How many elements? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5, 6, 8, 4, 10 done. After that, the second k array elements are 1, 2, 1, 2, 2. So I'll just show you. Here I'll change 1, 2, 1, 2, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So these are the 5 elements. Now I will not change anything because the program should be dynamic, and here I will run, and you will be able to see the output over here. number of ways in which Bob can see the matches too. And here you can see the output, guys. It is clearly written the number of ways in which Bob can see the matches too. So this is exactly matching the output which they have mentioned. So obviously we're able to match it each and everything. So both the conditions we have satisfied, and these are the two test cases which they have given for us. So that's how you will be solving any dynamic program, guys. So you can see this is just 25 to 27 lines of code. So if you have used a proper logic, then without using this else part, that is flog equal to true, then you will not be able to implement this problem, guys. Believe me, this it will become very difficult if you don't use proper things. Okay, so and this is about one problem, guys. I have got another problem which was basically much more difficult than the current problem, and I have solved that one also. But for that I will not be able to explain the things in this video because it's already 40 minutes, and I just want to stop this video here itself. And in my next video means the next video already I might have uploaded the time by which you are seeing this video. So just check the description or else in the corner over here, so you'll be getting one link or I button, something like that. So just click on that one, then you will be able to see this problem only. So there are two problems, and these problems belong to the same test, guys. Okay, so one was basically on the string and another was on the array. So this was on array and this was on the string. So I will explain it in the next video. Okay, so that's it in this video, guys, and I think you like this video. If it is helpful, please do like the video, and yes, please, if you are not subscribed, then do subscribe. Please support. Yeah, that's what, guys, and I'll be coming with more interesting videos in upcoming future. So until that, see you, tata, bye bye, have a nice day.